A Metropolitan Police officer who has been charged with the murder of Chris Kaba has been granted bail. The 24-year-old was killed while he was driving through South London in September of last year. Let's bring in our correspondent, Shingi Marike, who's been following this story from the very start. And Shingi, this officer has been granted bail, and as I understand it, he has also kept his anonymity.
Yeah, that's right, Kamali. So for the first time, Officer NX121, the officer involved in the death of Chris Kaba, had appeared at the Old Bailey today, charged with murder, and he has been granted bail. Just on that case, that point about anonymity, that will be revisited next week. But for now, we can only refer to the officer as NX121. There will be a hearing next week to decide whether that anonymity is kept. There are a few more key dates that came up here at the Old Bailey just in the last few minutes. Another thing was that there will be a plea hearing where he will plead guilty or not guilty on the 1st of December, while a provisional trial date has been set for the 9th of September next year. That is the 9th of September 2024. And this is the second of two hearings at which Officer NX121 has appeared in court. The first one was earlier today at Westminster Magistrates Court, where the charge was entered. And at that moment, in the public gallery, members of Chris Kaba's family, who are both here, but also at Westminster Magistrates Court earlier on, were visibly emotional as the officer was brought into the courtroom. There was a moment in which someone had to be led outside as the officer appeared for the first time in front of them since this case began. And I want to just come back to the background around this. So this incident took place on the 5th of September last year. Chris Kaba was picked up driving an Audi through South London at around 10 p.m. He was then followed by officers with no lights or sirens through the streets of South London. He made a turn into a narrow residential street, Kirkstall Gardens in Streatham Hill. There was contact made between the car he was driving and a marked police car. At that point, this officer, who is anonymous, just known simply as NX121, fired a single bullet through the windscreen of his car. That hit him on the head. He was then taken to hospital later that evening, where he was pronounced dead. And it's a moment that provoked protest at the time it happened last year in September. There were back-to-back protests in London and also across the country. There was also another protest held by his family to mark a year on last week. His family have been part of this process. They've grieved publicly, and they were also in court again today. But like you're saying, Kamali, this is now part of a lengthy legal process, which first of all has seen him granted bail. And from now on, we will have debates about the anonymity before moving into the rest of the legal process over the course of the next year, at least by the looks of it.